UFC 319, Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. I'm here to give you my full card picks and predictions. I mean, I've been saying this entire week if you've been following me on TikTok. This is my favorite card of the year. I think it's going to be the most stacked card of the year, at least up to date. Of course, before we get started, we'll quickly recap UFC Vegas 109, which was last week, the Delite versus Fluffy card. We went 10-2, absolutely dogged the card overall, not just with the predictions, but the parlays. I mean, couldn't have gone any better, to be honest. Went pretty low volume, I would say, and still turned out just beautifully. We ended up only losing 2 fights, like I said. The Cody Brundage one, where was a robbery, so should really be 11-1, and the other one was a massive dog shot in Susurkaev versus Julius Walker, where Julius Walker was minus 900 and did not look like a minus 900 in there. So I will take Susurkaev 10 times out of 10. I mean, not saying he'd win any of those, but you know what? At plus 450, might as well take a shot there. And then I swept the main card, 6-0 there. CLD, TKO, had the TKO prop as well. Matsumoto, Andre Fili as a dog, Lucindo. So many people were on Hill. I just knew Lucindo was going to win. Steve Erceg to win, and then Fluffy. And I said in countless videos on TikTok, Fluffy either just is going to drown him and sub him late, or he's just going to get a decision. That is the only way that fight would have went, was either the decision or him subbing him late in the fight, which is what he did. Looking to translate this into UFC 319, like I said, this is one of the best fight cards of the year, which means it's one of the trickiest to predict because there's so many close fights. And honestly, up until this point that I'm recording this, there's some fights I'm still going back and forth. So we're going to run through every single one of these from the first fight of the night into the last. I will say just a few things. Of course, please subscribe here. I will be doing a giveaway once I reach 1,000 subscribers. We are at about 660 right now. And of course, follow me on TikTok. Please also join the Discord. It is $14.99 a month. You also get a free week with that subscription. And I don't just do the UFC. My other capper, Salty, he does the UFC, but he also does other combat sports, including Dana White Contender Series that I don't do, but he does. All main boxing fights, bare knuckle boxing as well. And then I also do NFL, which is coming up, and I will have videos for that as well on this channel. And also, just in case for this card for UFC 319, there are 2 Ultimate Fighter fights that I simply do not care about. So I will not be predicting those on this video because I haven't watched The Ultimate Fighter all year. I've just been too busy. So I really don't care about those 2 fights. I will also say that upon recording this, the Bobby Green fight versus Ferreira is not happening. Someone pulled out, which is fine because we're still going to have 12 fights to cap because we actually had an addition yesterday where the star of Dana White Contender Series Week 1, which was 2 days ago, he ended up winning by a beautiful body kick. And he ended up getting a fight for UFC 319. He's Khamzat's main training partner. His name is Baysangur Susurkaev. He's fighting current welterweight champ at CFFC, Eric Nolan, former Marine. He's coming up in weight to fight Susurkaev, and I kind of did already a prediction on TikTok for this, so I'm going to start with that because there's no graphics or anything like that. I'll have my editor Chris put Susurkaev photo when I give the main prediction. But listen, Eric Nolan is coming up in weight for this debut as well, kind of giving him a shot, likely going to lose, and then they'll give him another fight just as a thank you. 3 straight finishes by TKO. Looked good, has been looking good, to be honest, but he's coming up in weight. He's going to be shorter, also have a reach disadvantage in this fight. I had to go do some research. Massive reach disadvantage. I think Susurkaev is going to be able to piece him up. I think he gets it done in the second round, if anything. I think Eric Nolan is tough. He's a Marine. I think he'll probably end up being okay for that first round, and then Susurkaev does finish him. I don't know where the placement is going to be for this fight, so that's why I wanted to get that one out the way. So give me Baysangur Susurkaev to win by knockout or TKO. And now let's go into the main fights. Like I said, Idris versus Morales, I really could care less. Karine Silva versus Dione Barboza. Now, they fought before, and Barboza did actually beat her by decision, which is very important considering she's an underdog, which we'll get to in this fight. Karine Silva, 18-5. Did lose her last fight to Araujo, which was painful for me because I had her on Parlay of the Week, and that ultimately failed. She's going to be an inch shorter, but have the 1.5-inch reach advantage, and Barboza is going to have the 2-inch leg reach advantage. Going to be very important for Barboza. She's going to be kicking the shit out of Karine Silva as soon as this fight starts, to be honest. As long as Karine Silva doesn't, catch a kick, it's probably the easiest way she'll be able to take Barboza down. Barboza does have pretty solid takedown defense. She's also just really built and big. She's kind of a monster. So very interesting to see who's going to be kind of leading the dance. I kind of think it might be Barboza, but Silva, if she gets a takedown, I mean, she is one of the best jiu-jitsu artists, I would say, in her division. But like I said, Karine Silva did lose her last fight. She just gassed out, but before that, she was on a 6, I can't count, 4, 6, 9 fight winning streak. It was her first loss in the UFC. Gassed out and then just couldn't do much towards the end of that fight. And then Barboza is 2-1 in the UFC. Lost Miranda Maverick. Not a bad loss at all. Miranda Maverick is pretty decent. Beat Ernesta, which Ernesta's long, lanky, likes to keep it on the feet. Barboza was just able to just kind of dominate her in the clinch in the cage. And then she finished Belbita in a round. Belbita, not a UFC fighter at all. She sucks. So it's tough because I think Karine Silva is better than Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick's primarily a wrestler. She's kind of getting her own with her hands now, but primarily a wrestler, where Karine Silva doesn't have that wrestling arsenal. It's going to be harder for her to get Barboza down, but I think she'll be able to and do her best work there. And she'll be able to hold her own early as long as she doesn't gas out. Karine Silva right now, minus 235. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like that. I don't like that. And it's kind of disgusting for a first fight of the night for me, I guess, technically, because I think this is a red flag fight. Karine Silva minus 235, lost to Barboza before. It's nasty work. I don't like the Barboza side either, really. Plus 180, I don't really like that side either. Red flag fight, but I will go Karine Silva. I do think that she has more of a future, I would say. I think, like I said, she improves her hands. I mean, she could be a top contender. Just gassed out against Araujo, who's been in the UFC for quite a while. Not the best record, but listen, she's there with the top dogs. She lost to the top dog. Can't be mad at that. Where Barboza lost to Maverick. Maverick's on the fine line of being up there. So I still do lean Karine Silva, so give me Karine Silva to win by submission or decision. Next fight, Bryan Battle versus Nursulton Ruziboev. Now, Bryan Battle is fighting at 185, and it seems like he's going to continue fighting at 185. He missed weight in his last fight, and I think he's just probably tired of it. The UFC probably told him, listen, don't do that shit again. So he was like, you know what? Let me not even risk it. 13-2. Ruziboev is going to be 4 inches taller, but he's usually the much taller fighter regardless, so I don't really put too much in that. He fought Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley's like 5'8", so Bryan Battle still with a 1-inch reach advantage, which he was using that reach advantage a lot at 170, and Ruziboev 1.5-inch leg reach advantage. Pretty even, I would say, to be honest. When it's even like that in terms of like reaches, I kind of just see more towards skill and not just game plan. Bryan Battle can hold his own on the feet. Obviously, I think he's probably better on the ground, but Ruziboev, plenty of submission wins before the UFC as well. Obviously, he has a million fights at this point, 20 wins by submission. He's 3-7 when it comes to decisions. That's still so disgusting to me. Obviously, he did lose to Joaquin Buckley. That's his sole loss in the UFC. But then beat Mechanico, which Mechanico sucks, and then beat Stolfsus by decision. Stolfsus, kind of mid too. He's not beating good competition. I mean, Bruno Ferreira is probably his best competition, which was his first win in the UFC. And then he's kind of been fighting cans since then, except Joaquin Buckley, where he lost because he was able to get taken down a million times by Joaquin Buckley. Great game planning by him. He listens to his coaches. Very big fan. And then we have Bryan Battle. Obviously, it says unranked because he's not fighting at 185 all the time. Great win, 7-1 in the UFC. That's crazy. In one no contest where he was beating the shit out of Angelusa. He should be 8-1 in the UFC, only losing to Renat because Renat was just able to take him down, hold him there. I think that's the only game plan to beat him, unless Randy Brown had his moments, and although I thought Randy Brown won that fight, it was so close that I couldn't be mad at Bryan Battle winning that because he was just kind of holding him at some point. It's really annoying, and I'm more mad at Randy Brown for letting him hold him like that. But he was tired, but still pretty annoyed at that. Ruziboev might be able to do that to Battle, but like I said, when it comes to just overall skill, I still do lean Bryan Battle. I think the only way to really beat him is to take him down and keep him there. Very interesting to see how his power translates here because I think he is super strong. Bryan Battle right now, minus 174. Don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. Listen, Ruziboev's not a bad dog, which is why this is another back-to-back red flag fight for me. Ruziboev as an underdog is pretty shocking, to be honest. I think it should be a pick'em. If anything, Ruziboev might be a slight favorite. Bryan Battle, minus 174. It's all right. It's decent. It's hard. See, this is one of those fights where I'm like, fuck, it's the start of the card, and I'm already like, I'm smoked. I'm going to lean Bryan Battle here. I think he's going to be able to do enough in 3. I think Ruziboev probably gasses out a little bit, and then Bryan Battle just turns it up a notch in that 3rd round. Probably 1-1 going into the 3rd. Probably the best way to bet on Bryan Battles after that 2nd round, and then it's like, all right, time to smoke you. So give me Bryan Battle to win by decision. Edson Barboza versus Drakkar Klose. Now both are coming off of losses. Barboza's 2 inches taller, 5-inch reach advantage, 2-inch leg reach advantage. Barboza is coming off of a loss to Lerone Murphy, which was a 5-rounder. Back-to-back 5-rounders. His last one prior to that was Sodiq Yusuff, where he was hurt in the 1st round. Sodiq Yusuff tries to finish him, not able to, and absolutely got wrecked after. Barboza was just able to do everything to him. And then he fights Lerone Murphy in a 5-rounder. Lerone Murphy, absolute masterclass. We'll talk about him later in this card. Absolute masterclass by him. Barboza really wasn't able to do anything. Murphy landed 220 significant strikes. You know how many fucking strikes that is? That's so much. He threw 410 strikes. To have that type of cardio, bro, to throw 400 strikes is I don't think a lot of you understand how much that is. That's so much. 5 minutes of control, not bad. I mean, Barboza, obviously, he's old now. He's getting up there in age, but Drakkar Klose isn't 25. He's 37. Lost to Gerald Alvarez. Gerald Alvarez is a freak of nature. Prior to that 4-fight winning streak, kind of a little more active now, which is very nice to see, to be honest. Fought twice last year. He seems to be very active since like end of 2013, which is nice. 3 fights, not bad. 4 fights under 2 years. I think that's very solid. Obviously, on the feet, I think I still lean maybe Edson a little bit. Drakkar Klose is going to be looking to take him down. 27% takedown accuracy, but still averages 1.65, which means that he's on average like attempting a little over 6 shots or 6 takedown attempts. Where Barboza, 72% takedown defense. It's tough. I think he's going to be able to take him down. I think where Drakkar Klose wins is the pressure on the cage. I think if he keeps him there, just has his shoulder on him and just starts just trying to land some shots there, I think that's probably where he does his best work. Barboza's obviously looking to get a finish at some point. He might even try something spinning, but I don't really see it going Barboza's way, really. I kind of think that he's really on the decline, where Drakkar Klose is still like there. He's not like descending just yet. We'll see how that knockout really affected him. But we've seen Edson Barboza hurt countless times. Now, Drakkar Klose right now is at plus 114. I don't mind him as a dog. I'm not going to lie. I don't mind him as a dog. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think he can edge out a decision. I think that's where it will likely go to. If you have DK, I would say maybe look into Drakkar Klose plus 3.5 spread, which means he needs to win a round on each of the judges' scorecards, or it could be split. That works too, as long as he doesn't get finished. If he gets the finish, that also cashes. That's probably the best way I would go about this. Rather, if he was like plus 150, I'd go Drakkar Klose money line. But because it's still decent odds, I mean, he's probably a good leg for a plus 3.5, maybe even plus 5.5. I would assume plus 3.5 would be maybe like minus 150. You might get plus 5.5 at plus or minus 185, which I think is still a decent leg for one of your parlays. But I do lean the dog here, so give me Drakkar Klose to win by decision. Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. Both are coming off of wins. Chase Hooper, always going to be tall as hell in there. 6'1 versus 5'9. 2-inch reach advantage, 1.5-inch leg reach advantage. We'll start with Chase Hooper. Now, Chase Hooper, obviously 8-3 in the UFC, but 5-fight win streak. Last loss to Steve Garcia, and we see what Steve Garcia is doing. He is absolutely mauling his opponents. We saw what he did to Calvin Kattar in their last fight. He's looking so good. His last loss, Chase Hooper's last loss in the UFC was 2022 to Steve Garcia. Since then, 5 wins, 3 by sub, 2 by decision. He's just been fighting old heads, but listen, some great wins also against Jordan Levitt, Borshev, great wins, beat Clay Guida and beat Jim Miller. And now he's fighting Alexander Hernandez, who's not an unk. But listen, he's had some weird fights, 8-7 in the UFC, 2-fight win streak, 1 by split, and then his last one to Halabau by decision, or unanimous decision, I should say. Prior to that, decision, split, decision. He has all this power, but for some reason, I think ever since that Jim Miller fight, 2023, where he won by decision, he mentioned something about him kind of holding back his punches, trying to win fights, not trying to just knock you out early, because he suffered some losses prior to that because he kind of overextended the Billy Quarantillo, where he got standing TKO'd in the second round. He got choked out by Marcano in the second round prior to that. He's trying to last for 3 rounds. And it's had some decent success. 5 straight by decision, 3-2 in those. 1 by split where he missed weight against Damon Jackson, and then the loss to Bill Algeo. His power, sometimes he looks crisp, and then sometimes he looks really bad. He looks like he's a fish out of water, especially on the ground. And then he just doesn't throw enough, where Chase Hooper seems like he's kind of on the gas a lot now, which is very nice to see. It's going to be tough because Chase Hooper, for some reason, part of me still doesn't trust him a lot. Hernandez also with a 71% takedown defense, and Chase Hooper is averaging about 7.5 takedown attempts, lands about 2.6. Like I said, 5-fight win streak. It's just been looking really good lately. I think this is going to be a much tougher fight than his last few opponents. Honestly, he dominated Borshev, really beat Clay Guida pretty decisively in the first round, and beat Jim Miller pretty decisively as well. A little closer, but he still won pretty decisively. Now, Chase Hooper right now is a minus 350. I don't like that. Honestly, I don't like that. Although I still think he wins because although I don't trust Chase Hooper, I just don't trust Alexander Hernandez even more. So I'm really not looking forward to even taking something in this fight. I did see earlier, if this is the way you want to go, is Chase Hooper to win by submission or decision is minus 185. Not bad. I don't think he knocks out Alexander Hernandez. I think his hands look better. I don't think he has the power for that, though. He's going to be looking to take Hernandez down and choking him out. I think he can get on his back. He doesn't really give up position for the sub, which is nice because he can just land a mean ground and pound. I just don't think that will be enough to win him the fight, although I still think he wins, if that makes sense. So give me Chase Hooper to win by submission or decision. Next fight, Jessica Andrade versus Loopy Godinez. Now, Andrade is coming off of a loss, where Godinez is coming off of a win. Godinez is an inch taller, but Andrade holds the 1-inch reach advantage, and they both have the same 35-inch leg reach advantage, or leg reach, I should say. So pretty even, honestly. Nothing to really go based off there. Pretty similar height, reach, and everything. So then we go based off just skill. And obviously, Andrade has been having some shaky ass fights lately, because ever since she got divorced, I don't know who she married, but that lady apparently is like a blood-sucking leech or something, because Andrade is fighting like she got some crazy bills now. So I don't know what she signed against this lady, but this lady is just, it's like taking candy from a baby right now. And I feel really bad for Andrade because I watched her beat the shit out of Mackenzie Dern at MSG a few years ago, and she mentioned, like, yeah, I need to pick up these fights because I need money. And it's like, damn, that kind of sucks. So she's fighting whoever, whenever. She's only 33. She has 1,000,000 fights. She has 29 UFC fights. And this is where it starts getting sad. She's lost her last 2, and she's lost 5 of her last 7. That's really bad. And then we have Loopy, right? Loopy is 8-5 in the UFC. Won her last one against Plessis, but lost her previous 2. One to Mackenzie Dern, one to Virna Jandiroba. I don't know how to say her name anymore. Beat Tabitha Ricci by split. Was kind of questionable. That was also on that card where Mackenzie Dern got smoked. I thought Ricci maybe edged it out, but still fair. Lost 2 of her last 3. Just her IQ in there sometimes is very questionable. But this is really not about Loopy to me. This is about Andrade and what she can do to win this fight. Because look at who she's losing to, right? This is the most important part, right? Because matchups matter. Look at who she's losing to. She's losing to Jasmine Jasudavicius, Natalia Silva, Tatiana Suarez, Zhao Xiaonan, and Erin Blanchfield. Jasudavicius is 1 fight away from a title, maybe 2. Natalia Silva is 1 fight away from a title. Tatiana Suarez just fought for a title. Yan Xiaonan fought for a title less than a year ago. Erin Blanchfield is 1 fight away from a title. Mackenzie Dern is not 1 fight away from a title. Marina Rodriguez just retired. Those are her 2 wins. Loopy Godinez is not 1 fight away from a title. She's losing to killers. Erin Blanchfield, grappler, killer. Yan Xiaonan, the most powerful fighter in their division. Tatiana Suarez, grappling killer. Natalia Silva, the best striker in the division. Jasmine Jasudavicius, killer. Loopy Godinez is not a killer. I think on the feet it could be even. I think Loopy's going to have to try to take her down, trying to clinch her up. Might work, but she doesn't have the jiu-jitsu that all these other fighters have. She might have 3 wins by sub, but she doesn't have a TKO win. People say she has all this power. She doesn't. She gets hit. That's what they mean. And Andrade still has that power. She's not 45. I mean, her brain might be, but she's still decent in terms of age. So I don't know where this whole notion of like Andrade is washed. She's fighting literally the top 5 of the division is what it feels like. And Loopy Godinez probably might be 14th or should be. Maybe ranked. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. This is a weird one. Because obviously Loopy's in her prime, 31. Needs a win here because she doesn't want to drop 3 of her last 4. But Andrade is she's just not bad still. Like, I think she still holds her own. It's just the fighters that she's fighting are obviously monsters. And I don't think Loopy is that, unfortunately. Now, Andrade, right now, plus 124, I'll be so honest with you. I'm taking Andrade. She was plus 220 at open. I'm taking Andrade. Plus 3.5 spread. I don't even know what that is, but plus 3.5 spread might be the biggest lock on the card to me. Personally, biggest lock on the card. I mean, I wouldn't even think twice about that, to be honest. I don't understand this line. She should be the favorite, if I'm being honest with you. She should be the favorite. I don't care. Everything's matchup based. People are going to look at her losses. Loopy's not even close. Loopy would lose to all of those fighters as well. There's not a single person on there that Loopy would beat. She wouldn't beat Jasudavicius. She wouldn't beat Natalia Silva. She won't beat Tatiana Suarez. She definitely won't beat Yan. And she won't beat Erin Blanchfield. Will she get finished by all of them except Natalia Silva? Maybe not. But she'll definitely have her face caved in by 3 of these. Give me Jessica Andrade to win by decision. It just feels right. Next fight, Gerald Meerschaert versus Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. GM3 is an inch taller, 3.5 inch reach advantage. Same leg reach advantage. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a fan of this fight too much. I think this is another red flag fight for me right off the bat. GM3, 12-11 in the UFC, lost 2 straight. Rainer de Ritter did well early, lost to Brad Tavares. Macau, big win in his last one, training with Fighting Nerds, obviously. Beat Dumas, lost 3 straight prior to that. Shara Kevin Holland, Michelle Pereira, not bad losses. Carvalho, definitely not a bad loss. Listen, I think the best way to go for this fight is someone's getting finished. The under. I like the under. I think it's Macau obviously early by TKO, or you take GM3 by sub late in the second or third rounds. Right now, Macau is minus 250. Not bad. Definitely wouldn't take that though. GM3 is plus 190. Not bad. Definitely wouldn't take that though. So I would go the under. I would take maybe a Macau knockout TKO prop or a GM3 sub prop, like I said. Probably the only ways this fight goes. I don't think this goes the distance. I think for it to not go the distance, it's minus 320. I'd rather take that than Macau to win by money line minus 250. At least you get both. Someone's going to die. So, not a fan of this fight, which is why I don't really want to spend too much time on it. I don't think either are that good. I don't think Macau is that good in general. GM3 is old, so he's not good anymore. Kind of just think someone goes to bed. But give me Mikhail Oleksiejczuk to win by knockout or TKO. I'll trust the younger guy. Next fight, Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura is an inch taller, 3-inch reach advantage, but Tim Elliott has the 1-inch leg reach advantage. Now, Tim Elliott, they're looking for him to kind of be the one to lose here. Not going to lie. He's 9-11. Won his last fight. He's won 3 of his last 4, which is very nice. Beat Tagir, beat Altamirano, lost to Mokaev, and then beat Sumerdaji. Very close fight against Mokaev. Felt like it was 1-1 going into the third, and then he got choked out. I had Tim Elliott in that fight, and he was like plus 450 or something. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. And it was close until he got choked out, so rightfully so lost. But still, beat Sumerdaji. And now he's fighting Kai Asakura, who obviously Kai, 21-5, lost to Pantoja, but before that, beat Juan Archuleta. Great win there. And then beat Yuki Motoya. Both knee to the bodies. Probably going to be looking to do the same thing here. He's going to be looking to knee Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott has not been finished by TKO in the UFC. Only 1 TKO loss in his career. 6 losses by sub, 6 losses by decision. I'll be honest with you, not trying to overthink this one too much. I think Kai Asakura wins. I think that he needs a win, and he's looking to absolutely put on a show. I don't know if he's going to be able to finish Tim Elliott. Kai Asakura right now is minus 350. Not terrible. I think Elliott is obviously well past his prime. I think that Kai Asakura probably might clip him early, but won't waste too much of his energy, because if he gets taken down at some point, it could be very bad for him. So I think that he's trying his best to just kind of win rounds. If anything, if he has an opportunity, he'll take it early. But I think he can put on an overall masterclass against Tim Elliott at this point. He's the younger fighter. He's kind of still an animal. He kind of keeps his hands down, but Tim Elliott doesn't have power anymore. You know, Tim Elliott's going to be looking to take him down, and I think Kai Asakura knows that. If he's able to get the hell off of the cage, then he's good. Then he's fine. Able to keep his distance, he's good. He'll be fine. Minus 350. Not bad at all. I really do like that. I obviously has a leg. It's not like, oh, I'll take him money line. I think he wins. I think it's either he's not going to sub him, but I think he can pick up a TKO victory or just ride it out and just absolute masterclass. So give me Kai Asakura to win by TKO or decision. Jared Cannonier versus Michael Page, MVP. MVP 4 inches taller, 1.5 inch reach advantage, 1/2 inch leg reach advantage. Now MVP has 1 fight at 185 currently in the UFC. Usually 170 pounder, but since there's a lot of things going on in that division, he's like, fuck it, I'll take another fight at 185. Last one was at 185 against Shara Bullet, where he absolutely dominated him as an underdog, and we had MVP there. Lost to Ian Gary. Close fight, 1-1 going to the third, and then Ian Gary decided to play monkey and just held on his back the whole time, not doing shit, which is really frustrating. Before that, though, did beat Kevin Holland. Solid 2-1 in the UFC. He's looking good, man. He's 38, but he's looking really good. 17-2 in Bellator, 2-1 in the UFC. Overall, just solid fighter. And then we have Cannonier. Cannonier right now, 11-8 in the UFC. Beat Rodriguez, lost to Bahalio and Imavov in his last two. But listen, Rodriguez, great fighter. Rodriguez clipped him early, and we had Cannonier as an underdog. He was like plus 200 against RoboCop, which was egregious, and we were like, "What? Okay." So we took him, and it was scary early. Obviously, he got clipped early, and then he just started putting an absolute masterclass. Rodriguez ends up gassing out and just puts on a show. TKOs him in the 4th round. Before that, loses to Bahalio, close unanimous decision loss. 2-2 going into the 5th, and then Bahalio really just put it on him. Imavov looked great early against Imavov, and then gassed out a little bit. Imavov starts to beat his ass. Before that, another 5-rounder against Vettori. 4 straight 5-rounders, bruh. Or 5 straight. 6 straight? Wait, I'm tweaking. Yeah, 6 straight 5-rounders, bruv. His cardio is fucking insane. Izzy 5 rounds, lost, didn't do much. Close in numbers, he didn't do shit. Split decision against Sean Strickland. Kind of thought Sean won that fight, to be honest. We had Sean, and it was kind of annoying. Vettori, 5-rounder. It looked like he was on TRT. Lost to Imavov, Bahalio, and then Rodriguez. This is going to be interesting. 3-rounder. He hasn't fought a 3-rounder since he knocked out Derek Brunson in 2022. I remember that. He took him down. I'm pretty sure I had Derek Brunson too, and he just head on canvas. It was crazy. Gonna be tough, to be honest. Gonna be tough. I think MVP still has a chin, but he's been chinned before the UFC. Cannonier has some power. He has some power. MVP is going to have to be very careful because he's more trying to take your head off, but with points. Cannonier's trying to take your head off in general. In a 5-rounder, I would lean Cannonier. He has a lot of 5-round work. And maybe even with the power in 3 rounds. I mean, listen, this is one of those fights, like I said, I'm still going back and forth. MVP minus 205, I'm not in love with that. I think that's pretty disrespectful to Cannonier, to be honest. But I'm still going to go with MVP. I think he can edge out a 2-1 decision. Very fucking close, though, probably. Very close. I think he can get hurt, maybe, at some point in this fight. I think MVP is going to try to keep his distance. I just don't know how much he's going to be able to do that against Cannonier, who can be flat-footed at times, I will say. So, might go his way, but still a little bit confused. I wouldn't call this a red flag fight, but this is definitely a fight that up until fight night, I'm like, shit, where should we place this here? What should we do with this? Because this is the style of fight this is, and it will be like that for every fucking fight on this main card from this point forward. But give me MVP to win by decision. Next fight, Geoff Neal versus Carlos Praches. Praches is 2 inches taller, 3-inch reach advantage, 2.5-inch leg reach advantage. All in favor of him, all beneficial to him, because this is going to be a striking galore. Geoff Neal has some monster power. I mean, he has brass knuckles embedded in his hands. And then we have Precision Carlos Praches, who lost his last one, where we actually had him, unfortunately, against Ian Gary. Ian Gary just put on a masterclass against him, and then he got hurt, and then he started crawling like a little bebe, and just started crawling to the cage because Praches almost fucking took his head off. But didn't do enough. Just didn't do enough. Not really loving a 5-round Carlos Praches right now. I'm loving the 3-rounder right here. He looks dominant in 3 rounds. Every other fight was a TKO win for him. And then we have Geoff Neal, who they were supposed to fight not too long ago, but then Geoff Neal had to pull out because he got hurt. Rafael Dos Anjos TKOs him, but Dos Anjos gets hurt. But I will say Geoff Neal was piecing him up already, so it is what it is. We had Geoff Neal, so I wasn't mad. Prior to that, lost a split to Ian Gary. Got choked out by Shavkat. Gave Shavkat hell for a little bit, but Shavkat gets hit a lot more than a lot of these other dudes. He gets hit more than Ian Gary, even RDA. And he kind of gets hit more than Praches. But I guess we haven't seen Praches get hit like that in the UFC. He has some TKO losses before the UFC. Very interesting to see what happens if Geoff Neal is able to find that punch. How Praches would be able to recover. Because Geoff Neal is super tough as well. Sometimes probably too much for his own good. But Prach's precision overrules almost everything. Kicks to the body, just everything. Just his stance is just solid. He's trying to stalk you. It's going to be a fun one. This is another one. Pracha is right now minus 265. Line has not moved at all. I don't know. I do know. But listen, Geoff Neal's so tough. I'm such a Geoff Neal fan too. Like, he seems like a solid dude. Has power, always rooting for him. I just think Praches is just on a different trajectory in his career at this point. If he gets clipped, who knows? I just don't think he's gonna lose 2 fights in a row. Honestly, that's one. Sometimes it's really that easy. Sometimes I'm just like, you got to trust these fighters into going like, he's not gonna lose 2 fights in a row here. But Geoff Neal's a tough motherfucker. This is that fight that he probably would have needed to beat Ian Gary after. To be honest, had he fought Geoff Neal and probably would have won, he probably would have beat Ian Gary. I don't know why, but it feels that way, right? But now this is a huge bounce back spot for him. I think he finds that mark in the second or third rounds. I think it's early, or it's close early, and then he finds that shot somewhere in the second round, and then he puts Geoff Neal down. So give me Carlos Praches to win by knockout or TKO. So you see the sadness when I said that? It's true sadness. Next fight, Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. Now, Lerone Murphy's an inch taller, 3-inch reach advantage. We don't have a leg reach on Aaron Pico. But Lerone Murphy, undefeated, not just in the UFC, in his career, 16-0, 1-0 contest. 8-0, or 1 draw, I'm sorry. 8-0, his first fight in the UFC was that draw, but after that, just clean wins. Clean 4-5 straight by decision. Has not picked up a finish since 2021. A lot of you guys watching this probably weren't even UFC fans at that point. Josh Emmett, clean, does enough to win. Dan Ige gets hurt early, starts to use his wrestling, ends up picking up that win. We needed that win really bad. If you know, you know. Very clean striker, just knows what he needs to do in the moment to win. Doesn't try to be flashy. A lot of power in his hands, but he's a little bit too hesitant at times. Aaron Pico fights like a nut, but he is well-rounded as fuck. He's 28. He's a savage. Obviously, no UFC experience, but 3-fight win streak, 12-4 in the UFC, and he made a great point. It's just something to point out. And you will not see this with a lot of other fighters that come into the UFC from other promotions, specifically Bellator and PFL, which has always been the B promotion for years and years and years. Obviously, when the UFC had bought Strikeforce, WC, and all that, like, Bellator also became like the premier up until their demise because of the PFL and became number 2. So, of course, he suffered a lot of early losses. One of his losses was a shoulder injury. So 3 of his losses have come from 2019 and below. All by finish, obviously. Very early fights. But something that you won't see a lot is the fact that he started his UFC career in Bellator. There's no one in the UFC that came from PFL or Bellator that just started in the B tier promotions. Not even UFC fighters. Like, look at Khabib's. I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying as an example. But look at Khabib's early fights. He's fighting the most washed motherfuckers ever. I mean, he's fighting me. Like, he's like prime Khabib, or not prime, but he's like 20, 6-year-old Khabib, 25-year-old Khabib, beating the shit out of like people who only train and don't like train professionally. Like, that's what he's doing. Like, it's crazy. And then we have Aaron Pico, who's coming up here. He's like, fuck it, I'll take a chance. And after that, just looked so good in his Bellator career. And listen, MVP's had success here. Wasn't a champion at Bellator. Aaron Pico wasn't a champion here either. Might have success. Has the power. Has the wrestling pedigree. Has the jiu-jitsu. This might be a different case here. This might be a different case than the patchy mixes, which I'm still mad about. On the feet, it's going to be close. I think Aaron Pico has more power. I think he can hurt him. Now, where I think this fight is different from other ones for Lerone Murphy is when Lerone Murphy gets hurt, he leans on his wrestling. He can't do that against Aaron Pico. I think Lerone could piece him up on the feet too, though. I think he's more precise. I think Aaron Pico could start getting frustrated in there if he's not landing the shots he wants to. Lerone, much cleaner, but unfortunately, it's a tough fight for him. Now, Aaron Pico minus 184. I'm telling you right now, I don't like that. If it was I'll be honest, if it was a pick'em, I might put the house on Aaron Pico. But minus 184 is kind of crazy for a debut fight. And when it comes to this now, I feel like I've learned my lesson. And of course, the moment I learned my lesson is when the exact opposite happens. I'm going to say, I learned my lesson. It's time to go with Lerone Murphy. Let's go with the proven UFC fighter. And then Aaron Pico is going to sub him. But anyways, I'm just going to lean with the fighter who has the experience, the UFC experience. Listen, plus 3.5 might be the way to go in terms of a spread. I think it'll be close. But if there's someone to get a finish here, it's Aaron Pico. 100%. So maybe an Aaron Pico sub prop wouldn't be bad. But in terms of a prediction, I am leaning Lerone Murphy. I just think he's going to be able to do a lot or enough for 3 rounds. But Aaron Pico has the finishing pedigree. He has more power. He has the better wrestling. It's tough. It's just hard to go with him now as this is his first fight. But give me Lerone Murphy, Jesus, as a dog, to win by decision. Red flag fight, by the way. Red flag fight. Did not say that. Red flag fight. And the main event, Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat an inch taller. Probably an inch taller, maybe 2 inches. DDP an inch taller, or inch reach advantage, 3-inch leg reach advantage. He's going to be looking to kick. But here's the thing. If he kicks too much, he might get taken down and he might get cooked. What is there to say about these two? Let's be honest. No one knows how this fight's going to go. And everyone's saying the same thing. Right? Because I feel the same way, almost. Although, maybe a little different. I think Khamzat obviously has the best way to win in the first 2 rounds. Doesn't mean that's the only way he can win. It's his best path to victory. He's trying to take him down. He's taking down most of his opponents within a minute of the fight. Can he choke out DDP? We've seen DDP hurt in the past. He has some great wins, of course. Has not lost in the UFC. Khamzat has not lost in general. Now, Khamzat has some close fights. Gilbert Burns was a close fight. Kamaru Usman was a close fight. He's not walking everyone down. DP is kind of different. On the feet, he might have more power. He might be a little harder to hit. Khamzat is very hard to hit, I would think. After that, before that second round or before that third round, I think he'll be hard to hit. But after that, he's pretty easy. I will say he can get cracked. At 185, it would be hard to beat him. I think he doesn't gas out, which is why I don't think it's the only way he can win. I think he could win a decision if he does enough in the first 2 rounds at least, maybe even 3. Maybe first 2 and then wins that 5th one just using his wrestling. Could happen. I think DDP, though, obviously he will do his best work throughout the fight. I think he's gonna have to do something within those first 2 rounds to have Khamzat thinking and also have him hurt. You can't have him just fresh, with nothing from your side for those first 2 rounds and then you're down 2 rounds. Because Khamzat can cruise at that point if he really wanted to. And he probably will cruise if he doesn't get a finish within those first 2 rounds. Which is why I think he's going to be super aggressive. And for right off the bat, Khamzat first and second round finish prop might be the way to go. DDP at this very moment is plus 196. Plus 196. Proven champion who has beat multiple champions is a plus 200. After the first 2 rounds, or let's say even after the first one, because after the first round, he's going to get mauled. If he doesn't get too fucked up, he has a very big chance of winning this fight. Khamzat is scary, though. He's very scary. I do give him the edge in that first round 100%. Second round could be close, but he could win that round as well. If it's 1-1 going into the third, at that point, DDP, this is DDP's fight. And I don't want to trust a fighter who only really has a finishing pedigree in 1 round. Because even if he can last 2 rounds, who's to say that he's really going to get that finish in that second round? It kind of feels like Khamzat's looking for that finish in that first one. If he doesn't get it, could be shaky. I trust the fighter that has 5 rounds of experience, unfortunately. Sue me. Khamzat could be different. He's 14-0. I get it. I've been watching Khamzat his whole career. He hasn't been in the UFC that long. It's going to be tough. It's going to be super tough. But I'm going to have to trust DDP here. I have to. He's a champion. Plus 200. It would feel wrong not to. Plus, I kind of want him to win, to be honest. Just maybe a little biased. I want him to win because he's an active champion. And I think that matchups against him are really fun. I don't know how many matchups against Khamzat are really fun. If he mauls DDP, who's going to beat him? I can't think of a single fighter that could really decisively put up a fight if DDP can't. So I'm going to go with the champ here. It's tough, like I said. You could take Khamzat finish, which means TKO or submission, finish, prop, rounds 1 and 2. After that, he does not get a finish. DDP could get a late finish, but I think he can cruise, and I think he'll end up stealing this fight as the fight progresses. I think he steals this fight. And I'm going to go with the underdog champion here. Give me Dricus du Plessis to win by submission or decision. And that concludes UFC 319, DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev. I appreciate you all for sticking around. I know it's a longer video. There's some banger fights. I apologize. Had to get all through all of them. Some red flag fights, some underdogs, some props for you. You know, try to be as well-rounded as possible for you guys. Obviously, if you want all of this early, you want the parlay of the week, the cycles, the lottos, you want all of that, please join the Discord. It is in the bio, in the description on this channel. $14.99 a month, and you get a free week with it. So you have next week's fight card as well. And also, it's not just the UFC, so you have a ton of other sports as well. Like I said, NFL season is honestly quickly approaching, so I will have a video format for the NFL as well on this channel, so stay tuned for that. Please follow me, subscribe to me here as well. 1K, and I will be doing another giveaway. I did one at 500. I'll do another one at 1K. Follow me on TikTok as well, where probably most of you know me from. And yeah, let's just have a banger card. Listen, we have 14 fights, 12 really, but you know, the first 2 are like appetizers, I guess. Honestly, I don't even know their fucking names, so I'm gonna be in there just like, I might just flip a coin and just go, all right, let's do it. Hammer it, bet the house. But in all honesty, I appreciate you all. I mean, I have so much fun doing this, so I want to always thank everyone for giving me this opportunity to do this for you guys. I've done this years before, even having a camera in my face and doing this, so I appreciate all the love, all the support. Yeah, and let's hope that we have another banger. Let's go for another 10-2 card at least. I love double digits. Let's do it. But regardless, I love you all. I appreciate you all. You will see another video pretty soon. I hope you guys have a wonderful, safe, blessed rest of your week. And I'll see you guys soon. Let's keep cashing.